It's 6:30 in the morning and more than 4,000 cyclists have gathered in Sölden, Austria with a common dream in mind: to finish the legendary Ötztal cycling marathon. 238 kilometers in distance and more than 5,000 meters in altitude separate them from their goal. This is probably the most demanding open race ever. It's perhaps a bit bold to say the Ötztal cycling marathon is a race for everyone, at least currently. It all depends on your condition. But of course, everyone has the potential to participate in a race like this, to get through it and also have fun with it, but only if you're healthy and if you're ready to prepare yourself over several years. Top athletes, former cycling professionals, and hobby cyclists alike converge on the Ötztal cycling marathon. The requirements couldn't be more different. Jürgen had a serious accident. He had a heart attack last year. Now he's fit again, and he's taking part in the Ötztal cycling marathon, and we'll ride this race together. That's just the best thing, and the fact that we can ride together again. Yeah, it's healthy for me. According to my doctors, it's even very good as preventative medicine. Mallorca, Italy, Gran Canaria, 8,500 kilometers. Unfortunately, my training has not been really successful this year. I didn't train very much. I slept badly last night, as always do before a race, but that's a good sign. That's the inner excitement. Now I can start right away. I feel totally fit. All we need now is a start signal. The first part of the race takes the participants 31 kilometers downhill from Solden to Ötz. Dry road and a comfortable 11 degrees make this section a perfect one for riders to warm up. But a look at the track profile shows the first big challenge won't be long in coming up. After the first and at the same time steepest descent of the day to Kühtai, the cyclists will cross the Brenner Pass to Italy. There, the never-ending serpentines of the Jaufen Pass await them, before the mighty Timmelsjoch will separate the wheat from the chaff. Josef Niebauer is a leading medical specialist at the Institute for Sports Medicine in Salzburg, Austria. He supports many of the athletes in achieving their sporting goals and knows exactly what the human body is capable of. It's always good to set yourself goals as an athlete. You need something to train for. And in this respect, the Ötztal cycling marathon is of course a good project. It's also a nice long time for a project, and it's a long race. So it's nothing you can prepare for in a week. You have to build yourself up over years, and that's good. It motivates you to train, it motivates you to go out, no matter what the weather is, so that's a nice goal. The first mountain classification, 1,200 meters in altitude over a distance of 18 kilometers to the summit of Kühtai Pass. Biting climbs alternate with flat sections, an extremely unrhythmic start to the day. If you don't like riding uphill, you probably wouldn't take part in the Ötztal cycling marathon at all. So I assume that the participants have ridden some mountains before. Otherwise, they would be a bit out of place here. You can't just train in the flat if you plan to participate in a race in the mountains with over 5,000 meters of altitude difference. You should somehow look forward to the ascent. And here's someone who is enjoying the ascent for sure. Austrian Martin Ludwigczek manages to break away from the field. He is the first to reach the top of the pass with a lead of 1.5 minutes. Further back, it's a bit less lonely. A field of thousands of cyclists trails towards Kühtai. Now it's all about the mountain and you. Now it's less about the environment around you. You have to try and forget about your environment. You have to let the others do their thing, let them overtake you, if need be. You have to ride in your own comfort zone. You have to stay within your aerobic area. Otherwise, the race is over faster than you thought. After 50 kilometers, the riders have mastered the first descent. While the leader has reached the water point after 1.5 hours, some of the cyclists need double the time. For most of them, the goal is to finish the race within the time limit in Sölden. The result is only a secondary matter. But why is finishing so important, and what makes this race so special, or even mythical? Because it's so tough. It's crazy. Yes, a bit crazy. Because it's my first cycling race ever, and it's the Ötztal cycling marathon. Well, it's 4 Alpine passes on one day, and you go through all 4 different climates. I've actually been waiting for this the whole time. I think you have to do this once in your lifetime when you love riding a bicycle. I promised myself that I would do this marathon one last time. It really is the last time. So we'll do it one more time, and then I say goodbye. During the descent, you have time to regenerate. You don't have to give everything all the time. It's probably better to use the descent to recuperate, but that's easy to say when others shoot past you at 100 kilometers per hour. Of course, you'll be tempted to ride with them. You should have practiced this before, though. 100 kilometers per hour on a bike, that's not everyone's cup of tea. Ludwigczek was able to extend his lead by another minute before he reached Innsbruck, shortly before Matrai. However, he is caught up by the persistent chasing group, including last year's winner Matthias Nottega. It remains to be seen who will finally win the 39th edition of the Ötztal Cycling Marathon. Laila Oreno seems to have tough competition in the women's race this year. She has 5 wins in a row in her pocket already. So far, however, Belgium's Ilis van de Moren is in the lead. Both are closely followed by Christina Rausch. Further back in the field, they take it a bit easier. The route through the Tyrolean capital is flat, but the Ötztal Cycling Marathon would not be the Ötztal Cycling Marathon if it didn't go uphill again soon. Although the old Brenner road has a rather mild gradient, this section is not relaxing at all. This is very different from the first climb at Kühtai. This is one long climb. You will ride in a group and you have to make sure your legs don't get hot. They should stay warm, but they should not begin to burn. You must avoid getting into that lactic acid buildup. You have to try and avoid getting your legs too sore, otherwise that'll be hard to get rid of. You should also try to find a group that rides at your pace, because it's much more exhausting riding alone than in a group. It's wonderful. It's exactly my speed. We roll well today. The weather is great and we have a bit of a tailwind, so it's going really well. It's fast. It's fast. Absolutely. I can't judge it very well, though. Well, no, I wasn't paying attention. It's a bit too slow for me. Great. You can roll along nice and easy. It works really well. We've been in a big group since Innsbruck. It's really fun today. Better than last year. The heart rate. I'm sure everyone wears a heart rate monitor. Hopefully they know their ideal heart rate. Hopefully they know the perfect heart rate to get to through the entire race. It's not easy to always keep this rate, though, no matter what your environment does. What do you think? 140. 24. Exactly. That's the group that's dragging you along. Very good. 150. Everything's okay. 155. Well, it's a little more right now, 160. I don't know, I prefer to ride without one. It's 169 beats right now. Is that okay or too much? That's 5 beats too much. Easier said than done, for sure. If you're in a group and you have to keep up with the others, but maybe you can already see the next group behind you, which is a bit slower. Then you let yourself fall back, ride a few meters on your own, and join the group. Otherwise, you risk your muscles taking on a debt that you can't pay back so quickly. And you have to pay it back sometime. Pay it back with interest, in fact. Just as interest accrues on an account where you're overdrawn, so is interest accruing here as well. The oxygen you need to get rid of this lactic acid is more than you would have needed if you had ridden without it.
Gebraucht hätten, wenn sie ohne Laktat gefahren wären.
At the top of the Brenner Pass, riders have half the distance in their pockets. Time for a breather. The energy tanks also need to be refilled. I'm really hungry, but my body needs it now, and then I can burn it again later. Energy bars and water. ISO and banana and gels. As much as possible. I take a bit of everything I get. A little soup, and then, as I said, a few loaves of bread, and the body simply gets a bit of energy again. Apart from cycling, eating and drinking is of course very important. This is an important topic. You sweat a lot. 3/4 of a liter of fluid will go away per hour. You have to replace this, and you can assume that you will burn 8,000 calories over the whole distance. That's something you have to eat first. That's definitely more than you can normally eat.
Das ist mehr, als man essen kann.
That's the hardest thing. That's why I try to eat as long as I can. At some point, it won't work anymore, and then I hope I've eaten enough.
It was necessary here to recover a little bit on the Brenner Pass. but I suppose now it's coming. It's my first time here, so I think now it's coming. Now is the difference between something usual and something more strong.
Or words, because the two most difficult ascents of the Ötztal cycling marathon still lie ahead of the athletes. On Italian soil, however, the road first leads them 20 kilometers downhill to Stasing. With this descent in front of you, you have to think about your legs again and ask yourself how heavy they are. You have to plan the descent accordingly. You should pedal in a steady rhythm at a high frequency with a low gear to give your muscles time to regenerate, because the next flat and the next descent will definitely come, and you will need the power there. And there it is, threatening the participants, the Jaufen Pass. The route winds its way up 15.5 merciless kilometers, and one question is getting louder and louder within the riders' minds. Why am I doing this? That's the crucial question. I don't know. It's always fun to ride the last section downhill to reach the finish line. That's all there is. And actually, this is fun too, tormenting yourself. Not everyone can understand this, but they don't have to. Whew, sorry. I had a bad accident, and last year my son asked me why I don't ride. Today, I ride, and I look forward to seeing him. For my children. I want my children to see that physical exertion is good. It's better than playing on an iPhone all day. I hope my kids are participants of this race in the future.
Be a weekend away for arrive at home?
This will be on TV.
Yeah, I hope you don't watch. You should have asked this before. Now I don't know.
The further back in the field you are, the more the time limit becomes your opponent. Whoever does not reach the supply point at Jaufen Pass in time will be out of the classification. How do the hobby cyclists rate their chances? Well, all right, actually. Of course, I feel my muscles a bit, especially in my thighs, but I'm still optimistic. Everything will be fine. I rate my chances at 10% positive and 90% negative. I will try, though. I've had problems from the start today. The iron will. I'm not joking. It was a dream of mine to do this, but I'm suffering a lot. Please give my regards to my loved ones at home. I hope you will see me alive again. If I continue to ride in a constant rhythm, I should be fine. I think I can finish the race if I stay patient. Yeah, of course you feel something, otherwise you'd be in the wrong place. But it still goes quite well, yeah. It's still pure pleasure, let's say. It's tough, but I'm having fun, yeah. Meanwhile, at the front, the battle for victory is already decided. Matthias Nottegger and Mattia De Marchi were able to escape at Jaufen Pass. Together, they battled their way up to Timmelsjoch. At the toll station, Nottegger takes his chance, leaving his Italian competitor behind and pulverizing the course record by nearly 10 minutes. After 6 hours, 47 minutes, he crosses the finish line. An incredible triumph, but the course demanded a lot, even from him today. It was such excruciating pain, and the worst thing is that you always think, I could just stop now because nobody forces me to torture myself. I could just stop and the pain would be over. And that's the bad thing. You have to confront yourself with this pain all the time. So the last section down here, it's like someone's beating you with a baseball bat. More than a minute later, Mattia De Marchi reaches the finish. What does he say about second place and his performance today? Let's say I've only studied the route this year. Next year, everything will be different, I hope. But the most important thing is to have fun. So you'll come back to win the race? No, to have fun. More than 7 minutes later, after Nottegger's record finish, the podium is complete when Tommaso Elettrico takes third place. After many changes in the lead, Christina Rausch wins the women's race already at Timmelsjoch. She crosses the pass with a lead of 2 minutes and is happy about her first victory. I started in 2011 with 11 hours, just under 11 hours. I've worked my way up the ladder and now I've taken the victory. I'm overjoyed. I never thought I'd make it. Ilse van der Moren, who had been fourth several times, takes second place today. Laila Oreno's winning streak has been broken, but at least she reaches the podium once again. Actually, I already knew at Jaufen that I lost the race. But yeah, you don't necessarily have to tell that to the others, and you can still make the competition a bit nervous. I could have cried on the road. I thought, you'll never do this again. Never! Everything from head to toe, everything hurts. And even if it doesn't hurt now, they still know tomorrow it will hurt, and the day after tomorrow will hurt even more. What can they do now? Well, to be honest, it's actually too late. Now they can only try to ease the pain a bit. With a lot of beer tonight. Yes, eat and drink some beer. Now I'm going to take it really easy for a few days, taking a walk with the children. I think I need a wheat beer too. And then of course I'll cheer for the others, because they're heroes. They're the ones that are still arriving from the back of the field, and we have to cheer for them. While the celebrations are already taking place at the finish line, the Jaufen Pass brings many of the amateur participants to their knees. Some do not manage to reach the checkpoint in time. Others have to give up because of technical problems. The derailleur of my bike is broken, which means I can't continue the race. I've got a defect. I lost a cleat here in Stersing in the traffic, and I didn't get up to Jaufen with only one leg. If the bike doesn't work anymore, you listen to it. And if you notice that something in your body doesn't work anymore, you're very well advised to listen to it as well. The body is sometimes merciless, just like the bike. The body has the disadvantage, though, that its spare parts are very bad quality. No, I've got a cramp in my arm. I can't really grab anymore. I couldn't drink on the road, and I had to stop every time. Yeah, it's really annoying. Halfway up the Jaufen Pass, I realized I couldn't continue anymore. It was still possible to ride up to here, but Timmelsjoch would not have worked for me. Then I got a little dizzy, and that's a sign that you should probably give up. Your body is something really precious. If you have troubles, get off the bike and take a break. If the troubles don't go away during the break, you should call it a day. For most of the riders, however, the day is not over yet. At Jaufen, the cyclists have finished almost exactly 2/3 of the course. Then, it finally goes downhill. After arriving in St. Leonard, the last big challenge begins, the ascent to Timmelsjoch. It's 1,800 meters in altitude and 29 kilometers in distance to the top. A participant tells us why the finish line means so much to him. Well, for me, it's a very important race because 4 years ago, I was supposed to get a pacemaker. Then my world collapsed. And yeah, I fell into a deep hole. Little by little, I managed to crawl out and had the goal of riding the Ötztaler here. And that worked. And that's why it's a pretty emotional day for me today.
Und das hat hingehauen. Und deswegen ist das heute für mich ziemlich emotional, das Ganze.
Ja.
Somebody once told me this is the old men's race. You have to prove yourself sometimes. Are you still able to do it or not? That's why you keep coming back. I desperately need this piece of cloth. The jersey is really beautiful this year. I absolutely need it. I'm really enjoying this. This may sound stupid, but I usually go through with it. So if I shouldn't make it to the finish line anymore one day, then I'll know that it's over. Then I will know it's enough. Then I have to look for something else. We're going to pull it off. Now that we're here, as I said before, there's no way back. Some of the participants have been cycling for more than 10 hours. It's hard to believe that they're still holding on. The limiting factor in cycling is not so much the air you inhale. The lungs are usually not the limiting factor. The limiting factor is the muscles, which can only metabolize a limited amount of oxygen, as they can only absorb a limited amount of oxygen. And of course, the energy that you have stored in the muscles is limited too. A trained muscle has more endurance. It simply has more reserves. It can live longer from what it gets. It has simply learned to cope better with the same amount of energy that is added through nutrition. It makes better use of it. The muscle gratefully accepts and implements everything the body offers.
Und das, was dem Muskel anbietet, wird auch dankend angenommen und wird auch umgesetzt.
Schönau Supply Station, the last chance to regain your strength. Riders fill their energy tanks one last time and try to soothe their muscles who are screaming for help. Yeah, I assume I can still manage this. I hope to make it within the time limit. This is a preventative measure now. It's great that they offer this. The worst is behind us. Now all we have to do is enjoy and get the jersey. We've come this far and we'll make it to the finish line too. I don't even think about whether I could break down. Now people are just pedaling, pedaling, and pedaling up there. I'd probably be pretty exhausted afterwards, but I don't give a shit right now. So it's still 11 kilometers now, but that's motivating. Now that I have come this far, I want to reach the finish. And those 11 kilometers, I'm going to make them too.
Das Ziel erreichen und jetzt die 11 Kilometer, die Berge jetzt auch noch.
With new motivation, things are continuing to improve. Up to the top, there are still 1,000 meters of altitude to be climbed. Cramps. Cramps. Ugh.
Zuckersturz.
Sugar crash, ECG, cramps, dehydration, but I'll continue. I was well on my way, but Timmelsjoch punishes everyone.
Timmelsjoch bestraft jeden.
A cramp is a hardening of the muscle. In this moment, the muscle pulls itself together tightly with a lot of force and does not move anymore. But you need a muscle that moves, that's flexible when you cycle. A cramp is really a classic in a race like this. These people want to achieve something they haven't trained before. Nobody wants to admit that, but that's just the way it is. They haven't put in enough kilometers in their training.
Aber ist es so. Die haben nicht genug Kilometer auf die Beine gegeben.
Latest now, some participants notice a training deficit, and moreover, the final riders are also punished from above. Everything fine? How are you doing? It's not too cold, is it? I'm suffering so much. I was hoping that the sweeper bus would grab me at some point, but it didn't. Now it's off to the bathtub. Bye-bye. After a few minutes, the rain says goodbye again, and for the last of the cyclists, the Timmelsjoch is now within reach. They've now completed the Timmelsjoch. Maybe it was their dream to do just that. It is, of course, a great moment to experience. Riding over the pass and looking down at the valley, everyone should enjoy this, no matter how their body is hurting. But now they can really enjoy it while they're cycling. They can also be a bit proud of themselves for their achievement. I'm really done, and to be honest, I've been done since we reached Kühtai. For me, the whole race was nothing but stress. I just made the time limit at Jaufen Pass, I just made the Moos Pass, and now they said they may close the race earlier. We have to hurry, but standing here compensates for everything, and now you're overjoyed. I definitely wanted to hang on. That's why I've always had the fight with the sweeper bus. At least it felt that way. Always when they drove by, it was a bit, well, I just didn't want to look at it because I didn't want that. That was out of the question for me. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm cold, but I'll finish this race. It's the 11th time I've done it, and this was the last time. The very last time. As soon as I'm down in Solden and then turn right over the bridge to the finish line, then I'll know again what I've been doing this for. Then all the effort's worth it. Today, Austrian Martin Brugger wears the red lantern. He's fought for 13.5 hours and is overwhelmed by the reception in Sölden. Whether first or last, all finishers are winners and have fulfilled their dream of the Ötztal cycling marathon today.